Thank you all for coming back to the Hidden Dagger Inn. I am live with Twitch sensation Ezekiel King. And first, I want to say, first and foremost, Jamie Chaos, thank you, my man, for the raid. I appreciate it with like 45 viewers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome
and thank
to
you
my
for all the followers that we've had.
lair.
I really appreciate it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm going to be very transparent that I've had some mojitos tonight and I'm a little bit drunk. Okay, so I'm going to try to get through this the best I can, but first I want to introduce you to the superstar sensation Ezekiel King, a former pro wrestler who is going to tell us all about his journey from wrestling into streaming. So hello all, thank you all for coming. And Ezekiel, first of all, welcome, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the hype there. I am the Ezekiel King. I'm a Twitch streamer, primarily playing massive multiplayer online role-playing games, which, I'm like all of you, eagerly awaiting for Ashes here. I basically... like Peon said here, I was a pro wrestler way back in the yesteryear. Let's see, how long ago is that now? 14 years ago. No, hold on. Math. I'm not mathing. 24 years ago. There we go. I started pro wrestling 24 years ago. Had about a 10-year career there. Transitioned into acting for a little bit. Also did some music management while I lived in Texas. Now I live up in the Pacific Northwest, and now I'm streaming video games for, it's a lot easier on the body than, being a wrestler.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure. So what exactly what was your journey like from wrestling to streaming? What inspired you to transition to being a professional wrestler and to becoming a Twitch streamer?
So the wrestling thing, I grew up reading comic books. I was a huge X-Men fan when I was a kid. And when I saw pro wrestling on TV for the first time, I was 8 years old. And to me, it just looked like comic book characters fighting, good versus evil with all the costumes and everything. So when I was 8 years old, I knew I wanted to be a pro wrestler. 9 years later, I got into, found a school, got trained, had a nice career like that. I've always been really into the entertaining thing. I'm very much a ham, in case you haven't noticed already. I've been playing MMOs since 1999 with EverQuest. That was my first one. I've been basically just finding any MMO out there and trying it out. Just got inspired to do streaming about 2.5 years ago. I saw this League of Legends streamer that invited people to play with her, and I was on her team, and I saw myself playing on TV, and I was like, wow, this is actually pretty fun. I could see myself doing this, but with MMO. So I've been streaming now for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in about 3 weeks. And and now I'm just waiting for my new MMO.
There you go. Now, a lot of people are going, holy shit, he's a pro wrestler. Tell them how big you really are.
I'm 6'5", and at the moment I've actually lost weight since I wrestled, but I am 265 pounds at 6'5".
Yeah, so he's a large man, guys. I mean, I'm 6 foot, 225, 230. He's a very large guy. So just saying. So tell me how your skill transfers, how have the skills and experiences from your wrestling career helped you in your new role as a streamer?
Honestly, so I've met a lot of other content creators and streamers, especially with streaming. A lot of people sometimes don't feel comfortable being on the camera. I absolutely feel comfortable being on the camera. Once you're in front of thousands of people wearing nothing but spandex, you kind of are a little okay with being in the public eye like that.
I got to be honest with you. I wouldn't have a crowd if I was wearing spandex. I'm not going to lie. As far as how is your fan base evolved from your wrestling days into your current streaming community, are there any similarities or differences?
One of the main differences, I was actually what in the wrestling business we called them heels. Heels were bad guys. So I was younger, very baby faced, couldn't grow a beard. I actually played a surfer from California, and anybody from California in Texas is immediately evil. So I was actually a bad guy for a majority of my wrestling career. So that's been the one difference, because as far as I could tell, the people in my streaming community actually like me. So that's kind of cool.
That's awesome. A bad guy. I always loved the bad guy wrestlers. They were a lot of fun. What do you think your streaming style? How would you describe your streaming style, and how does it reflect your personality and past experiences? Now, before you answer that, I'm going to tell you that I've watched your streams, and you are very high energy. And there's a lot of different kinds of streamers, and you are very high energy, and I love that style. That's the style I try to emulate myself, because I feel like you really should be putting on a show for people, and you do exactly that. But why don't you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it's hard, because I work full time, so sometimes I'll come home and, I'll try to, get something to eat. I got to, basically perform, and sometimes it's hard. So I just try to keep things positive. That's one of the main things that I try to do with my channel, with my community. I try to do, include everyone, be positive. The moment, somebody kind of steps over the bounds, we kind of, try to, me and my moderation team, we try to, kind of, adjust things when needed. But yeah, I just like to make people laugh, essentially. So if it means, me doing something silly like wearing a squid on my head while I'm doing,
Go ahead and put that on. Go ahead and put that on, because that looks awesome. I love that. Let's see the squid. All right, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
brings a little bit of flair. I love it. I love it. Give him a big emote. Give him some emote love, guys. Give Ezekiel some emote love. That's absolutely awesome. What about your engagement with your viewers? How do you keep your viewers engaged other than wearing your hat and entertained during your streams? Do you use any unique strategies or elements from your wrestling days in your streaming world?
Well, so one of the things that I had a lot of people comment on, because I primarily played the Elder Scrolls Online for majority of my streaming career, and I like to do a lot of PvP stuff, but stereotypically, PvP is considered more of a toxic environment, and I try to keep that light-ended. Like, if I'm going into fight and somebody beats me, I'm not going to yell and cuss at the person. I'm just going to laugh and make a weird noise or sing a song because I'm scared because I'm being chased by a big scary guy, or something like that. So I think it's just the fact that, I play a style not in the stereotypical way, both in character builds and just interactions with my viewers, essentially.
Outstanding. And before we get on to the next question, guys, I want to ask everybody in chat, since we have that huge raid from Jamie Chaos, and a shout out to Jamie Chaos. I appreciate it. He's really awesome. How does my mic sound tonight, guys? I had some help from DJ Vertec getting my mic set up. And how does it sound? Am I sounding good? And a shout out to DJ Vertec and the Golden Feather Tavern for helping me out. I really appreciate it. So if it sounds good, give me some love, give me some emotes. All right, outstanding, guys. All right, some challenges and your triumphs. Give me what are some of your biggest challenges when you face transitioning from the wrestling world into the streaming, and how did you overcome them?
I would say the biggest thing is I'm not savvy at like the computer technology side of things. I'm not at all. Like, I play video games okay, and I know the basic understanding of how to use a computer. But when it comes to like all the stuff on my channel, like the different like sound clips and graphics and things like that, I need a lot of work in, just because I grew up a jock. I'm a meathead, so I feel like I got the entertainer part, but being the IT part, I think that's the biggest challenge for me personally.
I feel you, brother. I didn't, if I didn't have Vertec to help me out, I'd be lost. That man is an audio genius. As far as streaming and stuff like that, he knows exactly what he's doing. Guys, make sure you hit him up if you have any audio problems, and he's going to charge you per the minute, just so you know. But he's awesome. So make sure he's super helpful. And, I just wanted to give a shout out to the Ashes of Creation community in general. Since I started streaming over 3 months ago, they have been so welcoming to me. And I love these guys. I absolutely love these guys. I love this game. And this is all because of the way Steven Sharif is made this game. He's a gamer making a game for gamers. And it's just a wonderful community, and I hope that we can manage to keep it that way when Alpha 2 comes out and we get the onslaught of people. But moving on, hey, thank you very much. What do we got here? I can't even read that because I'm drunk. So we got thank you, Draco, for the gift of subs. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to some of our next questions. We got what are some of your I already did that. Can you share some of your memorable moments from your streaming career so far, and some particularly exciting and unexpected interactions you've had with your audience?
Yeah, so the very first one that happened, I consider myself very lucky when it comes to streaming. So I started the end of June, beginning of July 2 years ago, and you have all your friends and family that are giving you the follows and stuff like that, but you got to increase your viewership, to achieve that affiliate status. Well, it was about maybe halfway into August. So I was only streaming for about a month and a half, and I got raided by a 500-person raid. And that was the first raid that I ever had. I clipped it too. I put it on YouTube and stuff like that. And I just freeze. I don't know what to do, because now I'm sitting here used to playing in front of 1 or 2 people. And now I had like 500 people looking at me.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. So that was a really awesome moment, and that literally just that one raid pushed me into the affiliate status, and ever since from there I feel like I've done pretty good finding games and the people that have been very supportive of me and put up with my nonsense.
Your nonsense is great. That brings me to a point that I used to stream about 8 years ago. I used to stream full-time Dead by Daylight, but back then streaming was a whole different world. It was much more cutthroat, and it wasn't as easy to become an affiliate as it is today. And I'm glad that Twitch is making it a little bit easier for younger streamers to get on board, because it's a lot of fun to be able to do this, and to grow that audience is really enjoyable. And you're doing so well. I mean, I think you got 1,100 followers, something like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, 1123.
Just wait until the people from Ashes Alpha 2 get in here. You're going to have a shitload of people. I kid you not. I'm not lying. The personality that you bring to the streaming world, I love it. So you keep doing what you're doing, okay? As far as guilds, are you involved with a guild in Ashes of Creation, or are you looking to be?
So at the moment, I'm not. I would be very much open into it. One of the things that I worry about, though, is that outside of like streaming and work, I don't really have a lot of free time to play. So majority of the times that I play, I'm streaming. So I'm just worried that I wouldn't be able to commit time to, help out the guild with whatever they might need. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Personally, I'm with Overlord, and I know Draco and Draco Bringer and Woo are here representing, and I want to give a shout out to them because he's been giving subs all night. I appreciate that, Draco. So if you're looking at a guild and you need somewhere to go, come look us up, and we'll be happy to entertain you, because we could always use some more good content creators. So that's my man Draco Bringer, and Overlord has been the best. And I know we had some shade thrown on us the other night saying that Overlord will not be a server first, and I call bullshit and shenanigans on you guys. We will absolutely be server first, so you can kiss my white ass. All right, other than that, we're going to go on to content creation. How do you balance covering the game's latest updates with news, providing entertaining and engaging content to your viewers?
So With Ashes, I don't really get to do as much as I would like. I'm not as like, talented as, people like you or the Golden Feather, where I can like run a show like this. I'm not an artist like Pockets are, so I can't like, because Pocket does a whole bunch of the cosplay stuff. So essentially at the moment, I just kind of do like reaction streams for when Intrepid does those monthly development updates. So yeah, I have that. I follow them on Twitter and Discord. So, I will skim through that every now and then just so I can kind of keep up with the in-betweens in between those videos. But yeah, as far as content creating for Ashes right now, it's kind of limited just because, I don't have the talent and or time to, because I also stream Elder Scrolls Online and Baldur's Gate 3, stuff like that. So a lot of my stream time is taken up with that content essentially.
Well, I'm not going to lie. It's hard to stream a game that doesn't exist yet. So soon, do you have Alpha 2? That's the first question we'll ask.
I do have Alpha 2.
Okay, so you have Alpha 2, so you will be streaming, and I'm assuming when it comes out. So that's take care of that first problem. By the way, I want to give a shout out to Clover, our PI in the group. Also, I want to say that she's a member of Overlord. Just saying that because only the best, we spare no expense, only the best come from Overlord. So just want to throw that out. But some of your future goals and aspirations, what are your future goals and aspirations as a Twitch streamer? And do you have any specific milestones you aim to achieve? Are you looking to be the next Asmongold?
I don't think there's going to be another Asmongold for a while, except with the MMO streaming, community, because MMOs is, if you look at streaming, the MMO genre is actually not that strong compared to other, first person shooters or real time strategies, things like that. If we're being like honest with ourselves, but as Asmongold's he was able to take his platform and launch it into something that probably won't get replicated for quite some time, if we're being honest.
Mm-hmm. No, and this is kind of off the question list, but since you have a history in pro wrestling, real quick, what would your advice be to give to other pro wrestlers or athletes considering a transition to streaming content creation?
Let's see. I would say if you're going to do it sooner than later, and your knees will thank you.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. I'm sure you wake up with a lot of aches and pains, unfortunately, and that's just the way of the world. But I would have enjoyed watching some of your wrestling. Maybe I'll have to find you on YouTube somewhere and see if I can see what your wrestling career was looking like. I love the fact you're a bad guy. That makes me happy. Your channel vision. What is your overall vision for your Twitch channel, and how do you see it evolving over time?
Well, overall, just one of the things that I like to do is just to kind of help show like a different light on certain aspects and stereotypes of video game playing to begin with, because video games are very much intertwined with toxic communities and things like that. So I want to try to provide a space where it can be, fun and entertaining for adults, but also safe for, younger people or, people that might have a little bit, more sensitivities, and things like that, just to try to be respectful to everybody. At the same time, just to make people, feel good. I basically feel good by making other people laugh, even if it's at my expense, which happens a lot.
Yeah, tell me about it. If you want to watch me dance, they had me. I mentioned my my alerts the other night. I'm like, oh, go ahead and hit me channel points. They had me dance, and I swear it was like 5 minutes. And that was my cardio session for the night. I mean, I'm an old fart, so they can't be doing that to me. I was out of breath. I needed the other guys to take over. But I totally hear you. What kind of community and culture are you trying to foster among your viewers, and what values or principles are really important to you in your stream?
Well, like I said, I like to include everybody. It doesn't matter, like what kind of lifestyle, religion, orientations, things like that. I want to make sure that everyone's welcome there. I also want to make sure that everyone understands that how do I put this? So, sometimes people mess up. Sometimes people say something or do something that might not be, very friendly with the immediate people around them. So I also want to try to kind of convey that there is a little bit of forgiveness as well. If you come in and if you say something and you kind of double down on it and people are like, hey, that's kind of a jerk move, I'm willing to give you that time to like reflect, maybe apologize or, just kind of, I just want to try to provide like a small safe pocket in this toxic world, basically.
No. That makes sense. And, I know you plan to do Ash's Creation primarily, but do you plan to diversify your content? And if so, what other games do you plan to incorporate maybe in the future?
So Ashes, I am basically seeing is definitely for sure my primary game whenever, that time comes. MMOs are majority of it. So every now and then I'll like go and revisit like an older MMO. Like just a couple of months ago, I went back and revisited EverQuest because they celebrated their 25th anniversary. But I also enjoy like playing games like Baldur's Gate 3, PlanetSide, the Warhammer like Vermintide and Darktide games. I kind of go around a lot of different stuff. I'm not really a cozy game player, so like that Stardew Valley games, stuff like that. That's not really my thing. But usually it's just games that have more intriguing character creators and a little bit of hint of competition. I do like competition. It's pretty fun.
Yep. And what kind of, since you're talking about characters, stuff like that, what kind of character race are you planning on playing in Ashes of Creation? Do you have something? Are you going to be a dwarf or are you going to be a Renkai? I would personally suggest Renkai because they are the best, zug zug, but just saying. But what do you think you're going to do?
I was actually on the Golden Feather Tavern's show at the end of April, and the episode was called The Shaman King. Because I plan on playing a shaman, which is a cleric primary, summoner secondary. And yes, I will also be a Renkai.
Yes, my man. Renkai for the win. Thank you very much. Stream's over, guys. The Renkai rule. Just saying. Shaman, I don't know how the shaman class is going to play out in this game, but I remember in Dark Age of Camelot, the shaman was really cool because it was mostly a dot specific class, a damage over time with a large area of effect, and I thought that one was really fun. Hey guys, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I think we've hit 600 follows tonight, which is really nice, guys. I want to thank you for that. Thank you very much. I appreciate all the love we've been getting in the Ashes of Creation forum, and it wouldn't happen without these wonderful guests like we're having Ezekiel King tonight. So I want to say thank you for that. And I'm glad you're going to play a Renkai because nobody here wants to play a stinky dwarf. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Thogli. My bad. Channel growth. What are some of your key strategies using your channel to grow your channel and reach a wider audience? What are some of your strategies?
Well, oh man, that is a good question. Holy heck. Let me think. So one of the things that I try to do is that I just try to, kind of provide like consistency. I think that's going to be one of the biggest things is consistency. I also think me being on camera, because there's a lot of streamers that don't use cameras, and there are streamers that are successful doing that. But for someone like me, who has more of an animated nature, I think me being on camera would be better. So having consistency, being on camera, treating everyone with the right equal respect until they prove me wrong kind of deal. Just trying to be silly with my gameplay. Don't take it serious. It's supposed to be fun. It's called video games.
Exactly. I'm a Twitch streamer, but I lost my Twitch like about 40 years ago. So I'm just going to say, guys, give a big shout out for Ezekiel King because he is absolutely entertaining. If you watch his stream, I guarantee you're going to be entertained. So give me a big emote if you agree, if you think that he is an absolutely good streamer. So, give him some love, show him some love, give him a follow YouTube if you haven't given him a follow. Let me give you his link in chat here. And he is absolutely very entertaining. He puts a lot of effort. I love these kind of streamers that put a lot of effort into their work. You know, people think streaming is easy. It is not easy. And what he does is very cool. So give him some love. Ezekiel, as far as how do you gather and incorporate feedback from your community to improve your channel?
So yeah, I have a Discord, and I try to keep everything updated with Discord, and I try to convey like the understanding that anybody can like approach me, like if you have an issue or a question or anything like that. I try to make sure that make people believe that they can come to me if needed, or if they don't understand something, or just questions about the game that I'm playing or stuff like that. So I do have a Discord. I try to be active on it. But sometimes there'll be like a message that I won't see until the next day, or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Draco, I'm looking at Ezekiel, and I think he'd be a perfect Overlord member. I'm just saying, if he ever decides to join a guild, I think we should welcome him, because he'd be a great addition to Overlord. As far as some of your tactics, can you share any specific tactics or activities you have to keep your audience engaged and coming back for more of your hat that you got on there?
Actually, so I think a lot of my community actually likes my redemptions, like where I wear the hat or the cat ears. I'll sometimes talk to people like a little Japanese schoolgirl too, because I know very, very little Japanese. So sometimes I'll just sit there and be like, that's great. That's fucking great. Oh man. Your content schedule, how do you plan and organize your streaming schedule to maintain your consistency, or and to avoid burnout? Because let's face it, burnout's a real thing when it comes to streaming. It absolutely is, yeah. So unfortunately, because of my work schedule, I have, I don't have as much leeway on when I can schedule, streams. So usually I do it. I'm usually an overnight streamer, just because I work and I get home, close to 8 p.m. my time. So, after I do some dinner, clean up, I'll start streaming, usually start at like 10 p.m., go on until about, 2 or 3 in the morning kind of deal. Thursdays, I'm off on Thursday, so I go way early, and I'll very, very frequently, I'll have somebody that'll show up and be like, oh my God, the sun's out and you're live. What's going on? Kind of deal.
No, for sure. And as far as your channel branding, how important is branding to your channel, and what steps have you taken to create a distinctive brand identity?
That's a good question. Let's see. So sometimes I like to, depending on like my moods with video games, I'll sometimes will take a theme and I'll kind of entertain that. Like right now I'm doing a playthrough with Baldur's Gate 3, and I have romanced a character in the game, and I've made it up in my mind in my script that I've beaten the game because I romanced her, and now I'm just doing all the side quests. So
yeah,
so sometimes
that's what I like to do. Sorry to cut you off. That's what I like to do. As soon as I get into like Boulder Gate, as soon as I get a chance to, screw one of the girls or something like that, usually the game ends right there. That's like my conquest of the game. So I don't know. Maybe that's you too, but I don't know. That's just me. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there, guys. Let's see. Would you say your first impressions of Ashes of Creation? What were your initial thoughts when you started playing Ashes of Creation? Were you in Alpha 1 or just Alpha 2?
So I'm only in Alpha 2. I was not in Alpha 1. And if I'm being honest, this might be a little bit of a touchy, like, ooh, So when Ashes of Creation was announced, that was back in, I think it was 2017, there was another MMO that was also announced called The Chronicles of Illyria.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was actually more interested in Chronicles just because some of the things that they were saying, I was like, ooh, that sounds fun, because they were advertising that there was going to be mechanics to where you can invent something for the first time in the game, and you had the agency of naming it and giving it certain qualities, and things like that. So I found that to be pretty interesting. Not that Ashes of Creation wasn't interesting. It's just there was enough of the sweet talk with Chronicles of Illyria that was kind of making me go that way. But then when we fast forward to about, when was that? A little over 4 years ago, when Illyria kind of just closed down their doors unexpectedly, and a lot of people, myself including, were out a lot of money, and that was super not cool. So when that happened, that was when I was like, wait a minute, there was another game that was announced that same year, Ashes of Creation. Let's go see how that has been doing. And that was around the time when they were doing the, I think they just finished the Apocalypse, that kind of battle arena style game thing. And I was like, oh, cool, they're still doing it. I don't want to play that game though. So that was about when I first started paying attention to Ashes of Creation, was probably about 4 years ago. So not like as long as you all.
And what do you think your favorite feature is on Ashes of Creation? And I'm curious if you're going to say what I think you're going to say, but we'll wait to see your answer.
Honestly, I would say the feature that I'm more interested in is just the open-endedness and player agency of character creation, just because they have, the primary and secondary archetypes. You have all the weapon skills, you have the world skills, things like that. I like making roleplay centric character themed builds, and having that more open sandbox element of it really draws me into projects like these.
And you mentioned character creation. Are you happy that the Ashes of Creation is going to have the character creation available to you before the game actually launches? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm one of those players that just wants to get into the game. I don't care if my character is as ugly as fucking looks like a dwarf. Did I say that out loud? Shit. That I want to get out there and just pick a character and get in there as soon as I can. Do you feel pretty much the same with that? You're just happy that character creation is in the game early?
No, yeah, I'm actually going to be really happy with that, because even though that I do like to do PvP stuff, I'm also very much like aesthetic, including like the gear and the clothing and stuff like that. I have an aesthetic that I typically gravitate towards too. So being able to fiddle around with that just to kind of get an idea of how cool my Renkai can look, definitely cooler than all the other dwarves.
What do you think about the nodes? Do you like the node system? Is that one of the big drawing points for you for Ashes Creation? And before you answer that, if nodes were not in the game, would you still want to play it?
So originally I thought the node system sounded cool, but, I didn't really, it was one of those like, oh, that's new, that's cool. But then after a while, seeing how they have developed it, I do see it as being a really awesome feature now, especially since there's going to be the different diversity of nodes and things like that. I would probably honestly would still play the game if they didn't have that node system. But I think that the node system is going to make this game a stronger product for sure.
Let me go ahead and give you another shout out here on Twitch. And as far as your character build, can you tell us about your main character build? What classes you think you're going to go, and the class you're going to be, and maybe what's your strategy behind it initially?
Yeah, so I've said this before, I like doing PvP stuff, but I don't really consider myself a good PvPer. So I try to find ways to where I could be a benefit. I typically go a little bit of a bruiser route, not like a main tank, not a main DPS, but somebody that can at least hit a little hard and take a hit. But I typically go for objectives. That's usually my thing, is objective and team play. So going after, cutting off resources or taking out the healer, stuff like that. That's kind of a little bit more my focus point. I typically also like to play characters that have a little bit of like crowd control and buff debuff. So that's one of the reasons why I was going with the cleric summoner, because I have a feeling the shaman class is probably going to be able to provide that, hopefully. Yeah.
I gotta ask this: being a professional former wrestler, what wrestler did you look up to? Was it like the Big Show or someone like that? Who was your favorite that you really, were just kind of really in awe of?
So the wrestler that got me hooked into wanting to become a wrestler was Owen Hart, the Rocket. Okay. Owen Hart. That was the first match that I saw on TV, and I thought he was amazing because he looked way different than everyone else. He was a little bit more of an agile person, things like that. So he had a different look, different style. That was the one that got me into it. When I started watching it, it was the Ultimate Warrior, just because of his over the edge, tactics and everything. Yeah. But growing up and then started training in the business, looking back, I would say honestly that the Macho Man Randy Savage is probably one of the best professional wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, no, I understand all those guys. And, Owen Hart, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he the one that died? I believe I was in the Army at that time in basic training, and I heard about that when that happened. That was pretty big news at the time, and that really sucked. It was like an accident, right? He fell from a really high spot.
Yeah, it was during a pay-per-view too. He was doing a spot where he was connected to a harness and he was going to be lowered from the ceiling of the Coliseum. And on his descent down, the harness broke apart and he fell. They said it was about 55 feet and landed on the ring post. What people had said, what trainers had said, is that he hit and he was still conscious, but then he tried to get back up, and as soon as he started to get back up, he collapsed, and that's when they said that that's probably when he passed. During that, goodness. He still tried to get up after landing from that high.
That was a shame. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. That was a pretty big, interesting time in my life, hearing about that I had grown up with those guys, watching all those guys, so that really sucked. As far as, like, your economy and crafting, what are your thoughts on the game's economy and crafting system, and how do you engage in these aspects of the game personally?
So there's a couple of things in Ashes that I'm actually very interested in, and of course I can't think of what it's called now. Oh God, what is it? Something engineering, arcane engineering. That one sparked my interest just because I don't know if any other game has done that aspect. But outside of that, I typically like doing things like tailoring, just because I like making fancy looking cool clothes.
And what else, real quick, is so everyone in chat here, and I want to say thank you to all the viewers that we have. We have 40 viewers right now, and thank you all for coming in here and joining us. What other platforms can they follow you on at the Ezekiel King?
Well, I do have a Twitter. I do have a Facebook. I don't use it as often. And I have made a YouTube channel, but I haven't really uploaded a lot of content. At some point, if I can, devote more time to, streaming and content creating, I would like to do that. I would like to get a little bit more into YouTube. It's just at the moment, I don't really feel like I have the time or energy, honestly. But yeah, so as of right now, Twitch is the main one, but I do have Facebook, Twitter, and a Discord channel.
Outstanding. And let's see if I can find some other good. As far as monetization of your channel, how do you balance providing free content with offering paid subscriptions or donations?
That's a good question. So yeah, I'm one of those types that I hate asking people for money. So like, I act really like when somebody like subscribes to me, I sometimes it's almost like that imposter syndrome. Like, it's like, no, stop spending money on me. I'm the worst. But no, just recently I actually just updated a lot of my my badges for like bit cheers and subscriptions and stuff, just to, you got to like, change things up every now and then to keep it fresh, just to, keep people interested essentially. As far as like other content for like, paid patrons, I haven't really thought of anything like that really, outside of just, having them access to, like cooler emotes and stuff like that. I would like to come up with some other ideas, but like I said, I'm not as talented as some people.
Nah, you're very talented. Don't sell yourself short. I know a lot of people are using Patreon right now, and I haven't gone that route, but I know a lot of people are going that route, and they're enjoying it so far. But might be something I explore down in the future, but not currently right now. As far as audience demographics, have you noticed any specific trends in your audience demographics, and how does this influence your content that you create, or does it?
I mean, so one of the things that I have noticed, and one of the things that I really love about it is because I consider myself a worldly person. A lot of people that come and show up on my channel are actually literally from all over the world. I have met friends from New Zealand to Malaysia to Belgium to Ireland to Austria, honestly, and on top of that, it's a ton of people of different lifestyles as well. You have like a little bit more of the progressive type people, the more conservative type people as well. So that's one of the things I actually really enjoy, is because I'm literally meeting all different types of people from all around the world. And I just try to provide that space to where to keep them coming in, because I can't travel the world like I want to, so why not bring the world to me?
Absolutely. And on that note, 1 second, guys, I've had far too many mojitos, so I have to use the little boys' room real quick. I'm going to go to intermission and let Ezekiel talk to you for a minute. I'll be right back. I'll put you on podcast. I'll be right back, guys.
All right, it's my show now. I'm just kidding. So just curious, can anyone hear me, or is it yeah, or did he mute me too? And hello, Lothan. Welcome. Lothan Wisher is actually a old friend of mine. We're in Zeke's house now. Oh yeah, let me tell you something. When you're here at the Ezekiel King's house, oh yeah. I also want to take this time too. I just want to thank a couple call outs for Dragon Rider, Rage of Wrath, Jabberwocky, Kexter, Yamcoon, Lothan Wisher. Thank you all for being here and giving some support over at the Hidden Dagger Inn. This is a new community that I'm trying to dive into, and having you all come out to support me, to support them, really means a lot. So thank you so much for all that.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. Go ahead. You were saying something. Feel free to finish.
Oh yeah. So Draco asked if I did get to a point where I could stream as a career, would that be something I'd be interested in? Honestly, it would. I think that would be fun. I still, just because I've been streaming for the past 2 years and I'm seeing what kind of growth that has brought. I don't feel confident that will be anytime soon because, economy, it's expensive out there.
I see a lot of positive comments in chat about you. And guys, if you haven't watched Ezekiel 1, first of all, I ask that you go over to his channel and his link, and I'll post it right here. That you go ahead. Ooh, I almost dropped my empty glass. That you go follow him just to give him a follow to support him. But give him a look when he comes on. There's going to be a lot of streamers that are coming on during Alpha 2. But before you start going to some of the new ones, make sure you check the people that have been out streaming Ashes of Creation already before. He is high energy. I guarantee you will enjoy his show. He will not ignore you. He will give you the attention that you deserve. I guarantee it. So give him a check and look him out, because he's a really nice guy too. And I know he's also been, DJ Vertek was saying he's been a friend of his for a few years now. And this is a good guy. This is the kind of guy that we want in Ashes of Creation, so keep supporting him, please. As far as community events go, have you participated in any community events with Ashes of Creation, and have these enhanced your gaming experience? And if you haven't, would you consider it sometime? I know Stickwino has organized a Among Us night, stuff like that, where all the content creators, play a game. Would you be interested in doing something like that?
I would would love to do that. One of the issues that I have right now, though, is just the scheduling. Because I met Chibi and Vertek over at the Golden Feather quite some time ago, and they approached me and asked if I wanted to be on their show way back in, I think it was November, and it finally happened in April. So like a lot of the times things that I see that get scheduled is usually at a time where I'm at work or I'm stuff like that. I would absolutely love to. So if I do get to a point to where I can free up my schedule, then I would absolutely would love to do more community-based things with the Ashes community.
Nice. And I'm going to go ahead and ask you point blank, when do you think Alpha 2 is going to be? Give me a date, give me a day, let me know what it's going to be.
Well, what would be really cool, because they said it's going to be in the third quarter. My birthday is July 2nd, so if it was on July 2nd for my birthday, that would be amazing.
Yeah, you know what? I made a video a while back, about 3 months ago, 2 months ago, something like that, speculating at July, put my tinfoil hat on, and was speculating July. But I got to admit, I'm a little bit concerned right now that July is going to happen. So, yeah, there you go. It's clearing up now. I was a little worried that July is going to happen, but you know what? At least we know that it's going to happen in September, because Steven has confirmed again for like the third stream in a row that Q3 is the real deal. You know what? I kind of wish they would just go out and say it, though. If they really, unless they figure there's any way and chance of hell that they can get it in July or August, just say it's going to be at the end of September. I got shit to plan. My wife's all over me for wanting to have a party here, but I'm like, babe, I can't schedule a party. I don't know if I'm going to be playing Alpha 2. So, I got to be available. So, I don't know. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. So I play Elder Scrolls Online. That's my primary game, right? And they just launched a new expansion called the Gold Road. And I actually haven't gotten it because I was afraid that if I got it, and then they would announce that Alpha 2 was going to start like right at the beginning, and then I just dropped, $50 on something that I might touch a handful of times, kind of deal. So it'd be cool if we had a little bit more of a concrete time.
I think if he came out and said at this next month's live stream, or even sometime in between now and the end of the month live stream, if he came out and said, look, guys, it's not going to happen until the end of September, everyone would be like, okay, fine. At least we have a date. At least we know. That's kind of all I want. So unless you think you're going to surprise me with something earlier, just give me the end date so then I can know. I mean, I want to be able to make plans, but that's just kind of where I'm at with that. Developer communication. How do you feel about the communication and transparency from the development of the Intrepid Studios?
I love it. Honestly, I recall a couple of years ago that I guess there was some flack being thrown at them for not being transparent enough, and it was in a short period of time that they kind of just 180'd that and were very much transparent, had a little bit more of like solid roadmaps for their developments and ideas. So I kind of vaguely remember that. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong, but I do remember that once upon a time they weren't as transparent. A lot of things kind of seemed hidden. So what they're doing now, I think, honestly, the past year and a half of their development streams have just, in my opinion, been amazing, because not only have they showed really cool improvements on things that they've been working on. They've taken things from games that suck and actually make them cool, and they are listening to the community when they voice their displeasure with something like the old what was that, Ball Lightning, and then they said, oh, it was too bright, it looked too fake, and then they fixed it up a little bit, and now it looks way better.
Now, to get a little bit more gauge on you, I know you said you played EverQuest, but what other MMOs have you played? Have you played like the Dark Age of Camelot or the Warhammer Onlines? And of course, everybody's played World of Warcraft. Which ones have you played a lot of, and where are you taking your experiences from?
Well, so I grew up reading comic books. So when City of Heroes came out, that ate up all my social life outside of wrestling. Like if I was not training or doing shows, I was at home making a superhero and flying around town and shooting eye lasers at people. Yeah, so City of Heroes was a big one for me. And then that company went over and made Champions Online, which was another pretty solid superhero MMO. So I was pretty big in the superhero genre for a minute. Yeah, that took some time.
I personally love Dark Age of Camelot. That was probably my favorite MMO of all time. I'm hoping that like I told you before in the pre-show, if I knew the MMOs were kind of going to regress over the next 20 years, I would have just stayed in Dark Age of Camelot. I did have fun in Arc Age, but Arc Age couldn't get out of their own way. It was a lot of fun. WoW was okay for a few years, but I got tired of the whole, hey guys, we're putting out an expansion. All your gear is now fucking worthless. Hey guys, we're putting out an expansion. Your gear is now worthless. So on and so forth, which leads me to the point that in Ashes, that's not going to be the case. They might raise levels in an expansion down the road, but the gear that you have is going to be used because you're going to have to disassemble it and get the pieces from it to make the new gear. So that gear will still have some use to it, which makes it worth getting still. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I also really like the tier system with their crafting, like based off of like what ingredients and things like that could also improve it, make it like a higher quality as well. So I think because I think they said that you can always upgrade something into it if you added those extra elements. I think that's what they said. So yeah, it just kind of makes it just feel a little bit more immersive, essentially, and not as grindy.
And what was your thoughts on this past live stream? And was this your favorite live stream of the year, or was there another one that really was on the top of the scale for you?
So one of the things I really liked about with the Node War system is that how they had that the mayoral level of things on how they had the mayor had to announce to start the war, but it was also protecting the fact that it wouldn't happen unless the populace actually agreed and did the things, which I really like, because it's so much easier for one person to ruin an experience for a group as opposed to a group ruining the experience for one. So if you have a crappy mayor and if you can't support them, then you don't have to worry about them putting you in a silly war situation with somebody who you might actually like. So I actually really dug that aspect of that system personally. As far as the top stream, I think one of the ones that kind of made me be very interested was the fighter one, just because fighters are typically a little bit boring in a lot of MMOs. They have, a spin, a charge, I swing big hammer at you, right? But like they added enough flash and pizzazz with the fighter to actually make them look very shiny and entertaining, but at the same time convey that brute nature of it. That kind of made me very excited, not to play as one, but to fight against one, just because they looked very fun.
As far as player involvement, how important do you think player involvement is in the ongoing development of Ashes of Creation?
I honestly, I think it is going to be one of the key points, honestly. And I think what what Intrepid's doing with their dynamic questing system, how one thing can trigger another thing, so that's going to basically, it's going to provide replayability for veterans to come back into, more beginner zone areas, because there could be something that could benefit from helping these new people to trigger something that they might need, kind of deal. So I think that's going to help. It's going to bring in, PvEers are going to help PvPers, because they can still do the PvE aspect to gear up and get ready for the war, while the PvPer goes out and gets all sweaty,
Absolutely. And as far as balance and tuning, how do you feel about the balance and the tuning of classes and systems in the game? Are there any areas, do you think, that need particular attention as we see it right now?
So as of right now, I would say it's kind of hard to understand that until we finally get the second archetype and how they flesh out their classes. I do enjoy the idea of how they want to have more of a rock, paper, scissors situation. And I also enjoy the fact that they don't want, or they're trying to approach this, that every build has a viable play style and point. There was something that Vertec had brought to my attention, saying that, like, if you start out and you play as a tank, if you don't pick tank as your secondary, you might not be the strongest tank, but you at least still have some other, systems and mechanics that you can help out in other areas. So that's something that I actually really, really like, is niche builds. Growing up reading things like the X-Men, you had a group of people that hardly any two of them were alike. So having that interaction, because you're going to have, new players interacting with the older players, because, they're going to help each other out with the dynamic questing systems. You have your PvEers playing with the PvPers, because you have something that both of them can do during node war situations. So you're going to have a whole bunch of people that are going to understand that what they bring to the table is going to be important, because someone else can't do what they're doing. Especially with like the crafting, how they want to minimize where people can only, I think, is like have 2 grandmaster crafting titles or something like that.
Now, you mentioned the rock, paper, scissors, and I'm really big into the rock, paper, scissors, and Holy Trinity system. By the way, I put up a rock, paper, scissors video on my YouTube, and guys, if you haven't checked out my YouTube, you need to get your asses over there and show me some love, and hit me that damn subscribe. It's free, and I know you want to, because you love me. So anyway, by the way, I put up a new video today about the node wars and my reactions and my thoughts. So if you haven't checked that out, check that out too. Okay, shameless plug. Anyway, I definitely agree with the rock, paper, scissors. And what do you think is your long-term vision of Ashes of Creation, and where do you see it in the next 2 to 3 years? Do you think we're still going to be in alpha in 2 to 3 years, or are we going to be in launch?
So honestly, I don't know if it's I don't think they will be an alpha. I don't think alpha would be that long, and I'm just basing that off of, if you look at their scheduling, their development schedule over the past few years. It started out very slow because they had a very small team, but now they have over 200 people, and they have some really good names working on this product. So I have a feeling that alpha is actually not going to last that long. I have a feeling that beta will be here next year for sure. Launch
for sure.
Maybe shortly
Can we get a
after.
clip on that? Beta next year for sure. Can we get a clip on that, please? I want to get a clip. We're going to come back and we're going to haunt his ass with this one. I hope you're right, my man. I hope you're right. I would love that. I would love to see this game before I die. So I'm really hoping that that is the case. But I think personally, Alpha 2 is going to go at least a year. That's just my thoughts. I think it's a lot of stuff going into it, a lot of balancing. But any more than a year and a half, I think is too long. That's just my 2 cents on that. But hey, I like your idea. I'm all for beta by now. On the final question for you, for your suggestion for developers, if you could suggest one major change or addition to the development team, what would it be and why?
So I'm just going to do this for selfish reasons. Bring back the crossbow. I am a crossbow fighter in my local LARP chapter, and when they said that they were taking the crossbow out, that kind of broke my heart. So bring back my crossbow, damn it.
Law, I love it. I love it, guys. On that note, Ezekiel King, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Do you have anything that you'd like to say or any shout outs you'd like to give before we do and before I give you all the love before we depart?
Well, right off the bat, I just want to thank you for this opportunity. I've never done this kind of format before until last month, which DJ Vertec is here. I want to give him a shout out from the Golden Feather Tavern. Thank you for helping me finding an entryway into this community. I'm enjoying everyone that I've been meeting so far. And thank you to my followers on my channel that have showed up today to give support for Peon and the Hidden Dagger Inn. I appreciate you all.
Let me give a shout out to the Golden Feather Tavern. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And we welcome you on behalf of myself, and I know DJ Vertec and Chibi, we welcome you to the Ashes of Creation community. I know the Guild Overlord welcomes you to the Guild, or to the Ashes of Creation. Everybody here welcomes you. We appreciate the work that you're putting in. We love the hat. We love your energy. Thank you so much for showing up and spending time with us on this Thursday evening. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you. And I'd like to, if you're willing, sometime down the road, Alpha 2, maybe have you come back and see how your journey's going, if you'd be up for that.
I would love to. I would love to do that.
Great. I hope you've enjoyed your time with us tonight. And chat, give them some love and give them some emotes. Again, if you haven't followed them, give them some follows. And thank you for putting up with my drunk ass. I'm finally starting to sober up a little bit. And everybody have a wonderful night. And thank you very much for showing up. It's been a great show. I hope you enjoyed it. And we will see you next time for episode 5. We don't know who it's going to be yet, but we'll have somebody. Take care, guys. God bless. Love you all. Bye-bye. Oh, hey, stay there. Don't leave. You're not leaving. We're going to raid somebody. I can't leave without raiding somebody. 1 second. We're going to raid the Tankologist. He's a new Ashes of Creation streamer. So let's go give him some love with our 38 viewers. All right, guys. On the count of 1, 2. It's taking a while. 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8. It hasn't rated yet. All right, here we go, guys. See you all later. Take care. God bless. Don't forget to check out my YouTube video. Much love.